Well, Alan Fisher is live for us in Columbia City in South Carolina. Alan, a real comeback for Newt Gingrich, who didn't fare particularly well in those first two primaries. Does this now open the race wide open, or does it just muddy the waters a little bit?
It really does, because if you look at the historic first three contests in the Republican race, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, this is the first time since 1980 we've had three different winners. Normally we get a winner in Iowa, a winner in New Hampshire, and one of those two comes down here to South Carolina and takes that. And since 1980, whoever has done that, won here, goes on to secure the nomination. Suddenly this is a wide open race. Everything has been reset. Let's bring in Jason Johnson, who's been with us for a large part of the last few hours. Jason, the polls closed here 5 hours ago. People are now on their way to Florida because that's where the battle goes. This is really almost an afterthought now, isn't it?
It's an afterthought. Everyone's leaving South Carolina. Basically, the chessboard has been thrown over, and everyone's going to be scrambling to figure out where they're going to put their pieces in, and they only have 10 days to figure it out.
So what do you do if you're Mitt Romney and you're going to Florida after such a crushing defeat here in South Carolina?
What Mitt Romney's got to concentrate on, he's got to talk to these senior citizens, he's got to talk to his base, he's got to say, look, I'm the only one here who can actually beat Barack Obama. Look at these numbers. Newt Gingrich got too many negatives. That's got to be his focus heading forward. Not Newt Gingrich, but on his own electability.
We're getting an idea from the Romney camp that they're going to make this all about character now. So can we expect more attacks from Mitt Romney himself on Newt Gingrich rather than leaving it to his supporters and his surrogates?
Newt Gingrich is not Mitt Romney is not a fighter. We don't want to hear him attacking Newt Gingrich, so I don't think that's a very good idea. And here's the other thing. People don't care about character. They care about jobs. They care about the economy. They care about national security. That is not the right strategy for Mitt Romney to be using right now.
So how did Newt Gingrich turn it round here in South Carolina?
He did really well in the debates, and he made sure that people focused on the fact that he is a big ideas guy. You know, what America really wanted in Barack Obama in 2008 was somebody who had big ideas who was going to go through with them. It seems pretty clear that Obama hasn't been able to fulfill all of his promises, and Newt Gingrich is saying, hey, look, there is a promise of brand new ideas, a brand new Republican revolution, and that's what attracted people to him. Mitt Romney is just a manager.
During Newt Gingrich's speech to his supporters, he made an open appeal on national television for money. Is that a sign that his campaign needs an injection of funds if he's going to be viable in places like Florida, which is very expensive to compete in?
Look, Newt Gingrich doesn't have a lot of money. All he has is the opportunity to go on debates and hope that he has plenty of eyes that pay attention to him, and he does well. He needs money, he needs volunteers, he needs organization, he needs a lot of that in order to be competitive in Florida.
This has been an incredible competition for the Republican Party. It's an historic night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very historic. And the thing is, if the Republican Party is smart, they're going to let this fight play out. They don't want to pick kingmakers right now. They want to have an opportunity for the voters to really find who they want, because as long as the press is focused on the Republicans, Obama's not getting that much attention.
Is this now a two-horse race?
I think it's a three-horse race. I think Rick Santorum is still in this race. I think he can still compete. I think he can focus on places like Nevada, where there is sort of a core of social conservatives. So right now we've got three people in the race, and we've got one guy kind of taking up the rear, and that's Ron Paul.
And what does Romney's campaign do to try and reintroduce this air of inevitability about his candidacy?
What he's got to say is this was a blip. What he's got to say is this was some kicking and screaming conservatives who are eventually going to fall in line and recognize that I'm the only guy who can beat Barack Obama anyway. What he's really got to worry about is people sort of picking up this narrative of, wait a minute, you didn't really win Iowa against, you know, sort of a third-tier candidate in Rick Santorum, and then you didn't win South Carolina. Mitt Romney has to say these are just sort of blips on the screen. I'm still the guy that you really need to depend on.
Jason, as always, a real pleasure. Thanks for joining us live here in Columbia. As I say, history dictates since 1980, the winner of the contest here goes on to secure the Republican Party nomination. But we should point out that that's history. It's always an ironclad rule.
Indeed, it should be a fascinating contest, and we will, of course, be following it every step of the way. For the moment, Alan Fisher live in Columbia, South Carolina. Many thanks.